Chapter 46. The School Massacre. As early as before departure, Chen Mai and others took special care of Lin's 7 knights. Let him pay attention to the use of their own ability. Since the humans infected by this mythical creature cannot be identified from the outside, then other ways can only be found to identify, and Lin Chia, as the only one among them with the mental power to perceive the forbidden market, is naturally very important. As Lin Chia thought, his Seraphi can identify the infected. At this moment in the field of his spiritual perception, Lu Xiaoyan is like a monster of flesh and blood dressed in human skin, subtly manipulating the body, whispering in a very natural and desk mate. In this classroom, in addition to Lu Xiaoyan, there is also an infected person. That is also a girl. Lin's 7 knights of her impression is not very deep, belongs to the kind of indescribable girl in the class. Her name is Han Ruo. At the moment she was quietly writing something, and then turned to give a small piece of paper to the boy behind. The boys behind her Lin's 7 knights also know and is more familiar. Lu Yuan. Once in the face of ghost face people pushed him a Lu Yuan he naturally will not forget. But how many? In the headset Chen Mai's voice sounded again. There are 2 in my classroom, and when I just came I specially swept a circle in front of all the classrooms on this floor, only this floor. About 6 of them. Is there any help? Not anymore. Lin Chia said with certainty. Their internal organs have disappeared. Hidden inside are rounds of strange flesh and blood. Even if you kill those things they will definitely not survive. He died the moment he was eaten. There are already 6 victims on the first floor, so if you look at the entire school, how many people will die? When there are so many dead in a school at the same time, the school is basically cold. And the social impact behind this event is even more terrible. Chen Mai on the other side of the headset was silent for a long time before he slowly opened his mouth. I know. Keep watching. Don't alert anyone. Roger. Lin Chia took out a pen and paper and listened intently to the teacher, just like an ordinary student. After the teacher talked for 10 minutes, Li Yifei ran breathlessly to the door and knocked on the door. Report. Li Yifei? You're late. For Li Yifei, such a veteran, the teacher did not look well. Teacher, I asked for sick leave. I have a note. Li Yifei threw away the note in the book. The teacher glared at him. Go back to your seat. If you don't do well this time I'm gonna call the parents. Li Yifei hurriedly sat back to the side of Lin Chia, while lowering his head to take a book, quietly asked Lin Chia. How's it going? A little but not all. Lin Chia glanced out the window. I need a chance to feel the whole school. Li Yifei, you mean? After this class, it's the flag-raising ceremony and then I'll get a sense of what's going on. Lin Chia's eyes narrowed slightly. Office building. 403 403. 403. I found it. Red Ying and Xixian and 2 people went to the door of the office of the director of teaching. Stopped at the same time. They looked at each other, quickly stood a good position. Si Xiaonan carrying the black box standing at the door. Red fringes are hiding behind the door, always ready to break in. Si Xiaonan cleared his throat and reached for the door. Knock knock knock. After 3 sounds the 2 people held their breath and waited for a few seconds, but there was still silence inside the door. Red-fringed willow eyebrows slightly wrinkled, gave the Xixianan a look. Si Xiaonan knocked a few times, still no movement. Red Ying beckoned Xiaonan to take a few steps back, walked to the door himself, took out a thin wire from his pocket and turned gently in the lock. Click dash. There was a soft sound and the door opened slowly. Behind the door was an empty office. Red Tassel alert into the room for search. Confirm really no one, just relieved. Red Tassel, I think the people here just left and the cups are still warm. Si Xiaonan reached out and touched the cup on the table and opened his mouth. Should be going to a meeting. If you are going to the bathroom do not lock the door. Red Tassel nods slightly. Anyway, let's search this place, see if we can find anything. Si Xiaonan nod, I help you watch. She closed the door and sidled to the window, taking a delicate little mirror out of her pocket and examining the situation by its reflection. Red Tassel quickly rummaged up, desk, drawer, filing cabinet, flower bed. I looked everywhere I could but I didn't find anything of value except a bunch of useless data. Suddenly she stopped and sniffed carefully. Nan, do you smell anything? Red Tassel's frowned slightly. I don't think so. Si Xiaonan carefully smelled, blank answer. Furrowed her brow more and more, she crouched down and followed the faint stench. Finally, her eyes settled on a tile under the chair. The tile looked clean and appeared to have been picked. She took out a knife and forced a tip on the edge of the tile, tilting the tile up a small corner, and a sour smell hit her face. Red Tassel withstood the smell, gently picked out the things under the tile with the tip of the knife, which was a whole piece of yellowish-brown soft film. When the membrane is spread out, the pupils of the red fringe suddenly contract. Peel its human skin. Red Fringe's fierce look up to Si Xiaonan. These infected people will molt. Si Xiaonan frowns. Snake? It's possible. If we report this information to Wu Xiangnan, we might be able to find out something about this mythical creature. Red Tassel quickly tucks the skin back into the tile, covering it back up. Just after the red tassel covered up all the traces of her own coming, a sudden music sounded out of the window, which startled her. Hearing this familiar melody, Hong Ying walked to the window, overlooking the more and more students downstairs coming out of the corridor, muttering, "The flag-raising ceremony? Is the music uniform throughout the Bactrian flag-raising ceremony?" At the moment, Lin Chia and Li Yifei, two people, are in the corridor, moving slowly down the noisy student team. Li Yifei carefully looked around a circle, came to Lin Chia's ear. 7 Knights, you joined them. Does that mean you have that special ability too? MINV. What are your abilities? Mentally perceiving something nearby, something like that. Lin 7 Knights' vague answer. Can you identify monsters and people? Agreed. That tell me the truth. How many are there in our class? 2 Lu Xiaoyan and Han Ruo. Hear these 2 names. Li Yifei seems to be relieved. Fortunately Wu Shujie is not. I have a crush on her for so many years. If she became a monster, I am not expected to fall in love in this life. Lin Chia. What about now? How many do I have around me? Li Yifei asked with concern. The 5th person in front of you, the girl too. Her. Li Yifei recalled for a while next door class as if called. Tianli, she was also turned into a monster. This is not a big surprise. Lin 7 Knights a blank. Why? Li Yifei frown. A pick you didn't find? Oh yeah. You've only been here a few days. You don't know that. What did you find? Lu Xiaoyan, Han Ruo and Tianli. They're in the same dorm. Chapter 47. The Flag Bearer. Lin 7 Knights heard this sentence, directly terrified in place. Indeed, when he felt along the floor before, he also found that most of the monsters were infected by girls. And Li Yifei said that he also realized that something was wrong. Did that mythical creature emerge from the girls' dorm? Lin 7 Knights mumbling. He turned on his headset and lowered his voice. Red Tassel, where are you? Just got out of the building. What's up? Lin Chia will say his guess. The Red Ing on the other side immediately nodded. Well, while you all go to raise the flag, we will go to the girls' dormitory now. With the playing of the march, Lin Chia's class also walked out along the corridor and slowly moved toward the flag-raising platform. The flag-raising ceremony is held in a vacant lot in front of the teaching building, which is not large, and the students of the 3 grades of the entire high school are crowded together, and there is basically no space between each other. Everyone in the back follow. Quickly. Don't squeeze me. Oh, hurry up. How fast can you go? The people in front of me are stuck there. What can I do? What about the man in front of me? Who's in front of you? Lin Chia, where did he go? I don't know. I had it just now. Li Yifei is gone. Just when a few students doubt Lin Chia and Li Yifei have slipped out of the team early, against the chaotic flow of people quickly shuttle in each class. Lin Chia's mental perception range is only 20 meters, and if he wants to fully cover the more than 2,000 students, he must keep moving. 7 Knights, 7 Knights, 7 Knights. Are you done probing? The music is over. It's time to raise the flag. Li Yifei, difficult to push away the classmates around, to the front of the Lin Chia, said. No, there's half left. What then? Everyone line up, will be found when the music stops. At this moment, the sound of the march that has been playing on a loop is getting smaller and smaller, and the 2 students are becoming more and more visible in the crowd, and many people have pointed at them. Lin 7 Knights frowned slightly. Li Yifei said is correct. If all people stand after they are still shuttling, will inevitably attract attention. If forced to continue searching, may also be stopped by the teacher. But if you stop here, you want to fully explore the entire school of 3 grades of students and teacher leadership, you can only wait until school to block the door. Too long, too many variables, they can't afford to wait. Lin Chia's brain turned rapidly. Suddenly his peripheral vision saw the flag-bearer team in the distance. The eyes lit up. He changed direction, quickly pushed his way through the crowd and walked to the flag-bearer team. Hello, classmate. Lin Chia walked to the head of the student, polite to speak. The flag bearer gasped, "Hello. You're laid off." The classmate looked at him quizzically. "What are you talking about?" The school leadership has just urgently informed that outstanding student representatives are required to raise the flag and give a speech after raising the flag, so the flag bearer needs to be changed temporarily. Lin Chia said in a serious manner, directly reached out his hand and grabbed the flagpole in the hand of the classmate. "But this. I am Li Yifei, the outstanding student representative of the second year of high school. Please give me your flag. If you have any questions you can go to the leader after raising the flag." Lin Seven Knights expressionless grabbed the flagpole in his hand, stood on the position that originally belonged to him, face solemn. "Li Yifei." The student scratched his head at a loss, and after a while he still chose to return to his own class team. "Lin Chia, what do you want?" Li Yifei could not help but ask. "You did this, but you will be punished." "No, I'll be punished too. It was I who stole your name and the flag bearer's flag, not you." Lin Chia said, "What's more, I am no longer a student, do not need to follow the rules of the school. I am the Night's Watch." Solemn music sounded, students, teachers, leaders. All the people in the field were quiet, and they fixed their eyes on the flag in the hand of the flag bearer, waiting for it to rise. With the rhythm of the music, Lin Chia held the flag, stepped the standard goose step and walked toward the front. "Huh. Look at that flag bearer. Doesn't he look familiar?" "Yes, he is very handsome, a little like Lin Chia." "Are you sure it's a little? Why do I think it's him?" "It seems so." Most people did not know Lin Chia, but Lin Chia's own classmates soon recognized him and began to whisper. The leaders on the stage did not notice the change of the flag bearer, smiling at the handsome young man. After all, this insignificant matter does not need them to intervene. So many students in the school, how do they know who should raise the flag today? But the teacher responsible for the flag-raising ceremony saw Lin Chia, and his face suddenly changed. Somehow he had a bad feeling in his heart. In the eyes of everyone, Lin Chia finished the flag-raising road. Just as he was about to embark on the flag-raising platform moment, he made a sharp right-angle turn toward the other right-angle side of the student square, step without hesitation. The leader, smiling and ready to greet the flag, was stunned. Their smile was stiff on the face and they looked at the Lin Seven Knights who ignored them, and it took several seconds to react. They turned their heads to look at the teacher responsible for the flag-raising ceremony, and their eyes were full of questions. The teacher responsible for the flag-raising ceremony was in a cold sweat on the spot. At the same time, the students also found this point, shocked to see Lin Chia from their eyes, the voice of the ear suddenly much louder. "What the hell? Why isn't he on stage?" "I don't know. First time raising the flag? It looks good. Interesting, this wave is going to crash." The look on the faces of your leaders in the stands. "Ha ha ha, I'm laughing." "Lin Chia, what the hell is this?" Just then, the voice of the teacher in charge of the flag-raising ceremony sounded high. "Be quiet. Everybody be quiet. The student with the flag, you are going the wrong way." Lin Seven Knights, as if unheard of, still did not turn the meaning of the head and even accelerated their pace. His eyes, like a knife, cut across the faces of all the students in front of him. In their eyes there was wonder, doubt, derision and schadenfreude. But Lin Chia's eyes, but always like a long deep pool, deep. In the eyes of Lin Chia, they are a group of sheep about to be sent to the mouth of the wolf, but do not know it. More than 2,000 teachers and students present, only Lin Chia and Li Yifei. It's awake. I was alone when everyone else was drunk. Maybe that's what happened. Come back. You come back here. Which class are you in? The teacher in charge of the stage roared. Finally, Lin Chia, who has probed all the students, pretended to be surprised, turned back in a hurry, walked along the flagpole next to the flagpole and quickly tied the flag to the flagpole. The responsible teacher stared at Lin Seven Knights, angry and trembling. He seemed to want to question something, but now is not the right occasion. Lin Seven Knights simply ignore his existence directly. At the moment he has no mind to manage the teacher's feelings. With the change of music and the singing of the national anthem, the flag rises slowly. But under the flagpole, a drop of cold sweat slipped down Lin Chia's cheek. He looked at the leaders around him and looked down at the dark students below, as if a heart fell into the abyss. "You'd better prepare yourself," he muttered to himself. Chapter 48. The Girls' Dormitory. Oh fuck. Which class are you in? What about the original flag bearer? The flag-raising ceremony has just ended. The responsible teacher ran to Lin 7 Nights in front of the fierce, questioned up. Lin Chia at this moment did not have time to pay attention to him, directly staggered to the distance. The teacher in charge opened his eyes wide. In all his years of teaching, he had never encountered such an outrageous student. Stop right there. Teacher talk to you, what kind of attitude you have. Can you believe it or not, I will take you to the principal's office right now, and the whole school will report the punishment. He grabbed Lin Chia's shoulder and roared. In front, Lin Chia stopped. Turn your head slowly. With my eyes. 2 golden flames burst into flames. At this moment, an unprecedented pressure enveloped the heart of the responsible teacher. Under the gaze of those eyes, he felt as if he were gazing at the whole universe, as small as a grain of sand in the immensity of the darkness and the unknown. A sense of pressure. This is the feeling of oppression across the life level. In just an instant, the back of the teacher was wet with cold sweat and the whole person seemed to be exhausted. The flame of Lin Chia's eyes flashed away, and those black eyes seemed to have never appeared. What happened just now? I was wrong. You can inform the whole school to criticize me or even come to the office to complain. Lin Chia looked at the responsible teacher who gasped heavily and said calmly. But you have to wait until I'm done with my work. After saying that, Lin Chia turned around, in charge of the teacher's frightened eyes, ran away. Captain. 7 Nights, report your status. I checked the entire school. It's a terrible situation and I think it's going to be hard to get this done quietly. Tell me more. 3 grades, high school and high school infected relatively few, but a total of 10 people. The situation in high school is the most serious. A total of 30 infected. There is a class even half of the people are infected. This is just the students. In the teachers and leaders, there are nearly 20 infected. So I can surmise that in the whole of 2, there have been at least 10 teachers and students who have been transformed into monsters. There was silence on the other side of the headset. Captain, over a dozen infected. Even if every infected person is just a boarder, there are more than a dozen monsters in this high school. If we discover the true nature of this mythical creature, the dozen or so infected people will inevitably go into a frenzy and attack the teachers and students around them indiscriminately. And there are too many of them. Once a fish escape from the school, it will be a disaster affecting the entire Tsongnan city. Lin 7 Nights calmly say their own inference. 7 Nights, not once a fish escaped from the school. The headset that came a sound of chopping, Chin Mai slowly opened. They have been in the penetration. Right now, a few kilometers away, a rental house. Chin Mai held a knife and stepped on the broken flesh from all over the ground. Beside him was Wu Xiangnan with a solemn face. We investigated the home of Lu Xiaoyan and the Han Ruoro you mentioned as well as the school director, and found that their families were also infected, which we just cleared. The situation is more serious than we thought. But we need to go to the families of the infected one by one and stop the transmission of the infected as soon as possible, so we can't support you for the time being, but such a difficult mythical creature, its own fighting force is not high. I believe that with the 3 of you should be able to wipe it out. But the school would inevitably cause a riot, possibly exposing us and the mythical creatures. Don't worry about that. We have a forbidden object called the Dream Whisper, which can create dreams within a certain range and erase part of a person's memory. Also, I will let Ling Xian temporarily watch in the 2 around the open, no ring airspace. No one can enter and exit in the next time. 2. It will become an isolated island. Chin Mai walked to the window, looked at the direction of the 3 Lin Chia, and calmly opened his mouth. This time our enemy is very tricky. No need to keep hands, no need to hide. We must find its body in the shortest time. Kill it. At the same time, to protect the safety of teachers and students, there can be no more victims. This time you can go for it. On the other side of the headset, Lin Chia was silent for a moment and nodded heavily. I see. Lin 7 Nights cut off the headset, standing beside Chin Mai. Wu Xiangnan frowned slightly, said. Was it too much for him to have such a big event on his first mission? Shonen, this boy is different from you and me. Chin Mai slightly shook his head. He has potential, heart, toughness. What we need to do is to give him a clear road, a broad stage. He will go to the sky on his own. 2. The girls' dormitory. Red Tassel sneaked her head out of the window, peered in, waved back. Let's go. The dorm lady's not here. Division Xiaonan quickly ran in from the outside, gently leaped across the door and flashed to the back of the duty room. Red Tassel is the same. 2 people escaped the duty room, then ran straight up the stairs, 3 steps a span flying. In a moment they were on the 5th floor. At this time the flag-raising ceremony has just ended. The students are directly back to the classroom to prepare for class. The dormitory building is empty. The doors on both sides are all locked, dark and narrow. The whole corridor, only the most front terrace cast a ray of sunshine. Red Tassels cautiously stick to the wall through the dim light, looking at the floor. What room did Lin Chia say the girls' dormitory was in? Red Tassel turned her head and asked quietly. Second to last on the north side. Si Xiaonan answered. Red Tassel looked to the north side of the dormitory, quietly stepped to go there. Si Xiaonan tightly grasped her hem. Eyes emerge a little fear. Sister Red, you gotta slow down. I know you little girl, you're not afraid of the monster and you're afraid of the dark. Red Tassel helpless answer. 2 people gradually approaching the dormitory door. Red Tassel again with a fine needle on the lock. The dormitory door will slowly open. Just as Hong Ying expected, there was no one in the dormitory. The 2 men went into the dormitory and did a quick search. Well, this school has a nice dormitory. The balcony is pretty big. Red Ying opened the door onto the balcony inside. Suddenly, as if she saw something, her pupils suddenly contracted. Only on the clothes rack in the dormitory, in addition to hanging a group of pink clothes and underwear. And 4 thin human skins. Swing with the wind. Chapter 49, The Long Gun. Red Crossword Sister. Si Xiaonan also saw this scene, his face a little pale. Red Tassels furrowed her eyebrows, walked through several people's skin, walked to the edge of the balcony and looked out. This dormitory is the most marginal building of the whole school, and there are no other buildings opposite the balcony except an undeveloped stretch of land, so it is no wonder that they dare to hang human skins on it. But what if someone else drops by? Thinking of this, Hong Ying's eyes set, walked out of the dormitory quickly, and opened the door of the dormitory next door. On the balcony of that one, the same 4 human skins flutter in the wind. Next door, next door, next door. Hong Ying searched several nearby dormitories, and most of them had human skins hanging on their balconies, some 1, some 2, some 4. This means that a large number of students on this floor have been transformed into monsters. Sister Hong Ying, now we are in trouble. Si Xiaonan stood outside the door mumbling. It is a problem. Hong Ying sighed and changed her voice, but it also showed that there must be limits for this monster to infect others. Why? If it was infinitely infecting, I would estimate that in 2 nights at the most, it would be able to silently infect an entire floor, but it's not. We don't know how long it has been dark, but at least we can be sure that it is definitely more than 2 days, and such a long time it can only infect these 4 or 5 dormitories, indicating that. So there's a limit to how many people it can infect? It's possible, but it's also possible that there's a cooling down time for its infecting abilities, such as one daughter infecting only 1 person a day. Si Xiaonan's eyes gradually lit up, but also, if it really has unlimited infection ability, the whole school would have been finished. So, we can actually reason about a lot of things. Red Tassel followed the train of thought and said, from the information provided by the 7 Knights, in the infected, the proportion of boarders is much larger than that of day students, because day students usually do not live in school and most of the time in school together, the monster is difficult to silently infect it. Moreover, in the infected, the proportion of girls is much higher than that of boys, not only because girls are relatively better to start, easy to be alone, but also because her eyes narrowed slightly as she turned to look down the dark, narrow corridor. The essence of the mythical creature is right here. Si Xiaonan surprised with a wide mouth. Sister Red, how do you suddenly so smart? Red Tassel frowned. In your eyes, I am so stupid? Yeah, always stupid, the kind that doesn't use his head until it counts. Red Tassel helplessly looked up at the ceiling after a while, removed the headset from her ear. Hey, I admit that's what 7 Knights told me. Si Xiaonan. And he's kind of smart. Si Xiaonan pout said a sentence. Red Tassel sighed. I didn't want to admit it, but he did seem a little smarter than me. The voice of the 7 Knights in the forest rang out from the earbuds. Are you sure it's a point? Shut up. When I should warn you. Lin Chia's voice became serious, and just now I saw a large group of girls walking to the dormitory building. Red Tassel frowns. Is infected? It's too far. I can't sense it. Be careful. Got it. Red Tassel will wear the headset, gave the Xiaonan a look. 2 people quickly ran to the direction of the corridor. Just then several girls came up from the corridor talking and laughing. Red-ing eyes slightly coggled, pulling the Sixianan stopped, looking at their eyes full of vigilance. The girls saw two strange girls standing in the corridor, looked at them with some surprise and then whispered to each other. Who are they? I don't know. Maybe from another class? Aren't we the only ones on this floor? I've never seen her before. Probably looking for someone? Yeah, let me ask. A girl with long hair came forward and politely opened her mouth. Hello, may I ask you to find someone? Red Ying's face appeared a smile. Yes, I came to class 6 students Wang Nan, but forgot which dormitory she is in. Wang Nan. Long hair girl crooked head. Class 6 know this person. You remember wrong? Isn't this the senior year dorm? Oh, this is sophomore. Seniors on the first floor. So that's it. Red Ing some sorry scratched his head holding the Sixianan's hand. Chipper answer sorry I'll bother. Never mind. Long hair girl polite smile. Red Ing and Si Xiaonan bypass long hair girls, straight towards the direction of the corridor. Those gathered together to see them coming, also very polite to them, set aside a road. That girl is growing beautifully. When passing by them, Hong Ying heard the girls whispered around her, her eyes full of envy. Yeah, fine features, nice skin. Envy. The short girl in the back is also pretty. How cute she is. Cute enough to trying to be eaten in one bite. In the Red and Si Xiaonan and the girls passed by the moment. Those girls' eyes broke out at the same time, hungry light. The whole head directly like a bud, revealing the bright red flesh and dense ferocious teeth. The corridor of the dormitory building itself is narrow, and these girls occupy most of the place for Red Ing and Si Xiaonan. Space is too small. So small they can't even dodge. But at this time the mouth of the red-fringed hook up a light arc. A ray of red ons to her heart burst. Boom. The rose-colored flame with her and Si Xiaonan as the heart, swept out on all sides, and the horrible repulsion generated directly lifted out the monsters in the corridor. Pa, 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 pa. The flames rolled, the hot heat made the emergency lights on both sides of the corridor directly burst, and the entire corridor were suddenly plunged into darkness. Only the flames burning alone. Then a maiden carrying a long casket came slowly up the stairs. The flames reflected her face. She tapped her hand on the long casket behind her back, and a sound came from the casket and a long spear popped out of the side. It fell firmly into her hand. The red tassel waved her long spear and danced out a spear flower, moving slowly through the rosy flames, proudly looking at the terrified monsters in front. I knew it. You guys are not good people. Red Tassel slung her spear over her shoulder, reached out and flicked her headset. After I see who dares to call me stupid. Chapter 50. Not completely saved. Si Xiaonan patted his chest and walked to the back of Red Ing, a frightened expression. They look scary. It does. Red Tassel nodded, but the strength did not look good. With these words, her feet dashed on the ground, and her whole being flew like an arrow from the string, and the point of the spear caught a rose flame, dragging a trail of flame through the air. Sizzle dash. The monsters in the corridor saw the red tassels rushing, and the flesh monster opened its head again, revealing its hideous bloody mouth and wanted to swallow it. Red Tastisman's eyes narrowed slightly, her body did not stop at all, and she rushed to meet the huge mouth. Roar. At the moment when the monster's giant mouth was about to swallow the red fringe, a ray of fiery red gun blew out from the tip of the gun, and the rose-colored flame lit up the entire dark corridor. The next moment, a huge fireball lit up. The point of the gun slits through the monster's body with ease, and the flickering flame breathes away the mangled flesh. The red tassel stood still, casually slapping her spear over her shoulder, the flame still throbbing at the tip. He gave a little laugh, looking at a few stunned monsters in front of him, wagging his finger defiantly. There's not enough of you guys put together. Si Xiaonan on the side of excited applause. Red Ing's sister good handsome. The monsters roared, staring at the red fringes in front of them, and the next moment more and more figures appeared on both sides of the corridor entrance. Some of them were wearing school uniforms, some were in plain clothes, some were holding a bird bath, some were holding books. Their long black hair fell and their eyes were fixed on the red fringes in the center, just staring at her quietly. From the nearby toilet came the sound of dripping water. There was a slight rustling from the ceiling upstairs. The students' chatter echoed faintly through the window. The whole hallway was silent. There are more and more girls on both sides of the corridor, and they stand in uniform like a silent army. The scene let the scalp tingle. Si Xiaonan silently came to the back of the red tassel from the hands of the black box out of the straight knife held in the hand. 16, 17, 18. Red tops count the people muttering to themselves. That's a bit of a problem. But only a little. Jojo, last class you said you wanted to drink Add Calcium. I just went to the grocery store to buy a bottle. Here you are. In the classroom, Lu Yuan held a bottle of Add Calcium milk in his hand and handed it to Han Ruoro at the front table with some red cheeks. Han Ruoro turned back to Lu Yuan with a sweet smile and took over Add Calcium. Thank you, Lu Yuan, you are so kind to me. Lu Yuan saw Han Ruoro smile. Suddenly a feeling of ecstasy immediately beat the chest to ensure. Don't worry, Ruojo, you can tell me what you want to drink from now on. I'll buy it for you. All right. Han Ruoro nodded, hesitated for a moment, leaned into Lu Yuan's ear and said in a soft and waxy voice. Lu Yuan, that. Can you wait for me in the garage after school? Huh. Lu Yuan seems to have thought of something. Heart plop plop beat fast. I have something to say to you. Han Ruif bright red face, charming look at him at a glance. Everything is self-explanatory. Lu Yuan nodded excitedly. Yes. After school tonight I will wait for you. Just then Han Ruoro alone seems to perceive what suddenly stood up. What's going on, Jojo? Where are you going? Lu Yuan asked in doubt. I remember I forgot something. I need to go back to my dorm. Han Ruoro face no more delicate color, cold leave a word, step will go to the door. Just then a young man came up to her desk and stopped her. 7 Knights Lin? Lu Yuan saw the bearer frowning slightly. The irritability in Han Ruoro's eyes faded, but soon her face showed a simple and innocent smile. Lin Chia, what do you want? Lin Chia directly ignored Lu Yuan's eyes, and after a few moments of contemplation, the quiet opening. Actually, I've liked you for a long time. Han Ruoruo alung. Lu Yuan, almost a blood spray out, resolutely stood up, staring at Lin Chia, said. Lin Chia, you don't do this. Han Ruif has a favorite person you cannot pester. Who? Have not waited for Lu Yuan to finish. Lin Chia put him back to the seat. By the way, backhand covered his mouth. Han Ruoruo reaction for a moment, seems to think out of the result. The face suddenly appeared to blush. Well, so. Be my girlfriend. Lin Seven Knights naturally said the next sentence. Ho 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 ho. Lin Seven Knights' voice is not big, but the lethality of this sentence is obviously very high. The whole class heard this sentence, suddenly heckling. Oh. Think of Lin Seven Knights actually like Han Ruoruo, this type of girl. Can't tell. However, take a closer look. Han Ruoruo looks really good. But obviously Lin Chia looks more handsome. Oh. So bossy. I love it. Pity you see Lu Yuan's expression. It was wonderful. I agree. Together. 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 In the midst of the noise, Han Ruoruo bowed his head as if he were watching his toes, his face red to the bottom of his ears. A moment later, in a voice as small as a mosquito, she answered. That all right then. On the side, Lu Yuan stared at her in disbelief, like a thunderbolt falling from the clear sky in his mind. His world collapsed. Lin Seven Knights' expressionless nod in this case. Tonight garage meet. All right. Lin Chia loosened the hand that covered Lu Yuan's mouth, the latter sitting there like a sculpture, staring at the blushing Han Ruoruo motionless. Lin Chia glanced at him and walked away silently. One side of Li Yifei witnessed the whole process, went to the front of Lin Chia, whispered. 7 Knights. Why did you save him? He pushed you before. I didn't want to save him and I would have stayed out of it. Lin Chia patted him on the shoulder. But who let me work now? I don't want to save him, but from a Night's Watch perspective, it's necessary. So I saved him, but not completely. Li Yifei alung, what does this mean? Lin Chia turned his head and looked at the dull Lu Yuan with a profound opening. Do you think with his character he'll give up pursuing Han Ruoruo? Li Yifei widened his eyes. You mean, he won't give up? It was my duty as Night's Watch to save him once. Lin Chia calmly opened his mouth, but if he still had to send the head, it was none of my business. By then I'll even be clapping my hands. Chapter 51. I understand you. The previous chapter of The Name of the Wrong Wang Shao should be replaced by Lu Yuan. Li Yifei smacked his lips to say ruthless, or you the most ruthless ah. Lin Chia was about to say something when a voice came from his headset and his face changed slightly. What's the matter? There's something going on with the red fringe. Lin Seven Knights without a word, directly carrying the black box to the classroom ran. 1 minute left for class. Li Yifei subconscious reminder then reacted, Now is not the kind of peace of mind sitting in the classroom before the day. He took a step to follow Lin. 7 Knights rushed out just to the door and the English teacher hit full. Li Fei? Class is about to start. Where are you going in such a hurry? The English teacher glared at him and said angrily. Class? Li Yifei, directly away from the teacher, quickly ran towards the distance but also shouted back, this time but also on a fart. Class. Times have changed, teacher. English teacher, I. Li Yifei, with the speed of 100 meters sprint all the way with Lin Chia, ran to the girls' dormitory building. At this time downstairs has surrounded a large circle of people. Did you hear that? I thought there was an explosion in there. I heard you. It's like something else is screaming. It's terrible. How is that possible? I just heard an explosion, so I guess someone hit another illegal appliance and started a fire, right? Did anyone call the police? Someone's on the phone. Fire trucks should be on their way. We need to secure the area. But why is there no signal? Neither did I. Strange that. 2 outside the middle. Lung Xian sat in a secret corner, the sign down, with a blade in the fingertips gently stroke. The wound oozes a few strands of blood. He reached out his hand without expression and drew a long mark on the surface of the sign. What did Zhao do before? Lung Xuan muttered and recalled for a while. Clapped his hands together. 1 click down. Forbidden market. No ring airspace. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. 10 seconds passed and still nothing happened to the sign. Lung Xuan, mouth slightly twitching. Think about it, is not enough blood? Then he drew his knife again, cut a slit in his left hand and drew a cross on the sign. Forbidden market. No ring airspace. Still no response. Lung Xian, some impatient, shot the surface of the sign just like shooting an old TV with poor contact. After 2 beats, the sign quivered and an invisible canvas spread out from its center, connected with the other 2 signs and covered the entire second middle. Right this time. Lung Xuan's satisfaction stood up, looked up to the distance. Suddenly a lung. But why is the color of this no ring airspace not the same? My goodness. But why is the sky green? Really? It's amazing. Come on, get it. What kind of man has such a big hat on his head? What kind of green does this have to be for a vision like that? The sky suddenly changed color, suddenly attracted everyone's attention, even the teachers and students who were in class out of the classroom, pointing at the sky. 7 Knights. What is this? Li Yifei looked at the green days, always strange in the heart. Lin. 7 Knights frowned slightly. Do not know, but perhaps related to no ring airspace. This is not important. His eyes fell under the crowded girls' dormitory and his brow furrowed slightly. They're locking down the girls' dorm and I'm having a hard time getting in front of everyone, so I need you to make some noise, distract them. Make a noise? Li Yifei Ling, what movement? Whatever. You can fake a heart attack, striptease, whatever it takes to lure them away. I can't do that either. Li. But Lin Chia turned around and solemnly looked at Li Yifei's eyes. Since you plan to join the night watch after this incident, you must be ready to pay everything for it. Including your virginity. Not you. Wait. Why sacrifice your virginity to join the night's watch? Li Yifei has a headache. Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, he caught sight of someone in the crowd. After frowning and thinking for a moment, his heart went sideways. There you go. I'll get your attention. Lin Chia nodded, walked around the crowd to the blockade near the police line, gave Li Yifei a look. Li Yifei took a deep breath and shouted at the crowd in front of him. Wu Shujie. This big voice immediately suppressed the noisy crowd, and all of them turned their heads at the same time and looked at the boy who suddenly appeared under the girls' dormitory building. In the crowd, Wu Shujie also turned around and looked at Li Yifei with a serious face, full of doubts. One side of the Lin 7 Knights' mouth slightly twitching. This guy should not be ready. Oh Shujie Wu. Li Yifei shouted again, I like you. Hearing these 4 words, there was an immediate cry from the crowd. High school students are like this. They will show abnormal interest in everything except study, such as sudden fire, such as someone made a confession in public. Obviously, the latter is more attractive to them than the former. The melon fire in everyone's heart is burning up. They cast their fiery eyes on Wu Shujie in the crowd, and even took a few steps back to give her a space. Lin 7 Knights seized the opportunity, blink over the police line, ran into the girls' dormitory. Wu Shujie lowered her head, did not dare to look at Li Yifei's eyes. She was silent for a moment, slowly opened her mouth. I'm sorry. I have someone I like. Li Yifei heard the sentence. The brain was blank, trance between. He seemed to suddenly grasp the feeling of just Wang Shao. You, who do you like? Wu Shuji's face appeared a faint blush. I like Lin Chia. Li Yifei heard Lin Chia 3 words. Face suddenly wonderful. He subconsciously glanced at the door of the girls' dormitory, but found Lin Chia figure is no longer there. He was silent for a long time, slowly raised his head, looking at the green sky overhead. Her eyes welled up. Bu Yuan. Don't cry. I Li Yifei understand you. Boom. The flying point of the gun was dazzling with fire satin, like a long red tassel attached to the gun, and rose sparks burst out between the dark corridors. The red fringes flew through the monsters, the long guns swept away, and in an instant the head of a monster rose high and burned. The few remaining monsters seemed to have begun to fear and stepped back in unison. In front of them, red tassel hand like a long gun, long hair swaying, slowly pacing. Chapter 52 Lackey. The rose-colored flames lit up the corridor as if it were day. Red tassel holding a long gun, the body slightly squatted, eyes staring at the front of the 4 monsters. A circle of flame heat to her as the center slowly spread. Suddenly, her figure as if turned into a fire burst out. The rose-colored embers melted rapidly in the air, leaving a fringed red shadow, too fast for the naked eye to catch the movement. In an instant she was twinkling in front of the monster. The long gun quivered and countless flame gun shadows bloomed like a pod, stabbing the 4 monsters who had not reacted in front of them into a sieve. The rose-colored flames burst into flames, engulfing the shrill, roaring monster. Little bits of residual fire fell from the air, like withered cherry blossoms, spread all over the corridor. Red tassel in the hands of the long gun back to the back, gently hit a snap fingers, the corridor in the moment of flame disappear, once again into darkness. Nan, are you all right? It's okay. I even killed one. See Xiaonan the value of the ground was cut unrecognizable monster, he smile. Xiaonan is good. Hong Ying stepped forward and touched her head, smiled and said. No more than the upper sister, your rose fire feather. Out and dozens of monsters are not enough to kill. You talk sweet. Just then hurried footsteps sounded from the corridor. Red tassel's brow wrinkled, holding the long gun behind her watchful look. What's going on? Why are there any students in there? The dorm attendant, looking alarmed, climbed upstairs and exclaimed as he saw them standing in the scorched hallway. Seeing the bearer, Red Tassel relaxed a little and moved his hand away from the long gun. We are students who have come to put out a fire. The fire has gone out. Red Tassel answered. Because the corridor was dark, the dormitory administrator aunt did not seem to see her long gun and hurriedly waved to them. What class are you in? Why are you so not afraid to die? Come out with me, the fire engine will be here soon. Red Ying and Si Xiaonan look at each other, the arms in the hands of the black box, quickly ran towards the corridor. They walked up to the dormitory manager's aunt who seemed to be about to say something. Bang! There was a sudden hum of gunfire and a bullet went through a gap in the armrest and hit the dorm attendant in the waist. Red Ying and Si Xiaonan pupils suddenly contracted, subconsciously, and dormitory administrator opened the distance. The powerful recoil knocked the dorm attendant against the edge of the wall. She stared stunned at the young man who was slowly walking up the stairs. The next moment, her head opened and turned into a monstrous creature of flesh and blood. Or, it was shot in the right direction. How did it hit the waist? Corridor corner, Lin Seven Knights holding a gun, muttered a sound, the muzzle of the bloody mouth, expressionless, pull the trigger. Bah! Bah! Deh! 3 bullets in a row pierced the monster's mouth. Its body convulsed violently, lost its life and tumbled stiffly down the stairs. 7 Knights. Red Tassel surprised to open his mouth. I heard you were in trouble, so I came. Lin Chia put away the pistol, walked up the stairs with the flesh and blood on the ground, looked around. Huh. What about monsters? It's done. With her hands on her hips, she smiled and said, I'm strong, you can praise me quickly. Has the body been found? Hong Ying's face suddenly collapsed, shaking her head in dismay. No. Lin Seven Knights carefully in this layer around a circle, still mused. According to the reason, here is the first infected place. Does its body after the infection of others and left? Is he that smart? This mythical creature must have possessed considerable intelligence. Lin Chia said with certainty, It can perfectly reproduce a person's personality, behavior and habits, so that people cannot distinguish between true and false, which is not a beast can do. What's more, its infection strategy so far has been very logical. Logical? Is there? Zishan in doubts asked. Yes, it chose to start from the girls' dormitory infection, not only because the girls are relatively weak and easy to control, but also the ingenious use of the unique charm of the girls can let others put down their guard. It uses these girls to communicate with other boys, gain favor with each other, and then invites them to a secret location, infects them undetected, and even the teacher is fooled. This behavior may seem random, but it's actually very stealthy and methodical. If Li Yifei had not bumped into Lu Xiaoyan and infected the teaching director, maybe we would not have been aware of its existence for another half a year, and by then, the number of infected people will increase to an extremely frightening level. Listen to Lin 7 Night's analysis. Red Tassel and Xiaonan only feel scalp numbness. This is the first time I've seen a mythical creature with such intelligence. Red Tassel frowned. So you say it knew we were coming so it wouldn't stay here? Probably so. Lin 7 Night's helpless nod. What's that over there? Xiaonan tilted his head and pointed to the end of the corridor. Lin 7 Nights and Red Yinglong at the same time turned to look. The pupil suddenly contracted. At the end of the corridor on the small balcony, a serpentine monster was sitting there. Its black scales were cold in the faint sunlight, and a pair of quiet green eyes stared at the three men. Sizzle dash. The scarlet snake spewed, its mouth curling in a curve as if it were mocking. Lin 7 Nights and Red Fringes stayed for a moment, looking at each other. Without saying a word, they rushed towards the balcony. Chase. The snake-tailed monster held its head high, opened its mouth and neighed abruptly at the sky. Hissing dash. Next thing you know, it's flying down the edge of the balcony at an incredible speed. Almost at the moment of this neighing sound, the distant classroom came bursts of screams. Lin Chia violently stopped his pace, looked up into the distance. The infected man went wild. Red Tassel gently jumped, turned over to the edge of the balcony carrying a long gun. Back to Lin Chia shouted. You protect the students, I'll go after it. As soon as she said that, she jumped down and disappeared over the balcony. Lin 7 Nights a sudden break back to the corridor ran. With the skill and realm of Red Tasmania, there is no problem jumping from the 5th floor, but at his current level jumping will be great fun. Lin 7 Nights carrying a black box, running fast on the road. Along the way, a lot of students screaming like a headless fly running around. In the distance there is a faint monster roar. Don't run. Stay behind me. You can't get out of school now. Lin shouted 7 Nights. Unfortunately, in a massive panic, no one listened to his words. Everyone was frantically running to the school gate, but was blocked inside by the invisible barrier. This is to prevent the monster itself and the infected from escaping the no-ring airspace. Be quiet. Be quiet. Listen to me. Lin 7 Nights even shouted a few words, or no one pay attention to him at this time, before the words of the cold Xian resurfaced in his ear. And so, Lin 7 Nights took out a pistol from his pocket. Pull the trigger on the sky. As the gunfire echoed across the campus, the frantic students were stunned. Lin 7 Nights holding a gun, aimed at the sculptural students, expressionless lifted his chin. I said be quiet. Chapter 53. The End of School. Guns aren't just for killing. And deterrence. When the sudden appearance of a monster gives people crazy fear, only another kind of fear can calm them down for a short time. Who are you? Why is there a gun? Cops. You're not a cop. Help us. There are monsters in the school. Help. After a short period of stunned, the students again noisy, toward the Lin Chia crowded past, the sound of one after another echoed through the entire school gate. Lin 7 Nights frowned slightly, not back forward. He pressed his finger lightly on the handle of the black box. The side of the box opened quickly, and a straight knife in the sheath shot out. Lin Chia grasped the knife handle like lightning. Victor. Straight knife out of the sheath. The blade of the pale blue light cut through the air with a slight buzz, and lightning beheaded the boy at the head. The boy's pupils collapsed and his whole head swelled as if something were going to burst out the next moment. However, Lin Chia's knife cut off his head first. A ghastly head full of flesh and fangs is thrown high, and the viscous blood splatters all around the students, who gawk at the scene as if they were sculptures. From their irrational rush to Lin Chia, to Lin Chia drew a knife, swung a knife and beheaded, but in the blink of an eye, these students could not return to God from the reality of great visual impact. A few seconds later, a piercing scream went wild. The monster, hiding by their side the whole time. Quiet down. Lin Chia roared, a touch of golden light in the eye and passed away. The chaotic crowd was instantly silent. At the moment Lin opened his mouth, an unprecedented pressure like a wave crashed into their hearts, directly shocking them. Now you have no monsters to hide, you can directly out of the school gate, someone will open the door for you. Lin Chia put the straight knife into the sheath and said calmly, but get out of here in order, no crowding, and if I see anyone breaking the rules. Lin's 7 Knights slowly raised the muzzle, shook in front of everyone. Hearing this sentence, the students present immediately turned around and ran to the school gate. Although it seemed a little impatient, but still in order, there are a few girls with soft legs cannot walk the road, and there are boys to walk to the school gate. At this time the no-ring airspace at the school gate was opened a corner, revealing a road to the outside world. Outside of the no-ring airspace, there will be a special person to clear their memory, which does not need to worry about Lin Chia. This wave of students alone, there are about 400 people and a large number of students from the building to run here. They are high school and high school students. High and High 3 infected people are not much, and the location of the teaching building is also very close to the school gate. After the monster appeared to escape, the teaching building is not difficult, but the trouble is that there are infected people are not exposed, but hidden in the chaos of the students. They are like a very unstable bomb, no one knows when to break out, but there is no doubt that the moment they break out, will inevitably become the last straw to crush the students' psychology. It is like a group of students who managed to get rid of the monster and finally hid in a safe place, and just put down their psychological vigilance. The head of the classmates around them cracked open. Although there is a limit to the destruction of monsters, there is no limit to the absurd things that humans can do out of panic. Fortunately, with the humanoid discriminator Lin Chia, it is easy to find the monsters mixed in the crowd and directly kill them, and the students who are identified as harmless can also leave here through the no-ring airspace. Such a large number of students if you want to stay in school but will increase the variables. Lin Chia cannot send away all the students but can send away some. Fortunately, the current high physical fitness is not bad. A few minutes of effort has 1,300 or 400 people ran to the school gate. After being identified by Lin Chia left the school. High and High 3 of the 2 buildings are basically empty. We can close the tunnel. I'm going in. Lin's 7 Knights to the head of the headset Lung Xian said. Lung Xian said a sound. The next moment, no ring airspace. The channel will slowly close. The whole school is once again isolated from the world. Just as Lin was preparing to set out, the sky suddenly flashed, just like an old TV with poor contact fading down. What's going on? I am not familiar with the no-ring airspace. It seems that I have come across some strange place. Lung Xian's voice sounds from the other side of the headset. Will it affect you? I'll look into. Lin Chia looked up at the blood-red sky and sighed. I think emerald green is more approachable. After all, it's like the end of the world. Under the blood-red sky, the atmosphere of the whole campus is strange and mysterious, and the screams from the distant teaching building of High School 2 are mixed with the roar of monsters, reverberating in the sky. The air came a light smell of blood. Let Lin's 7 Knights frown slightly. He shook his head, threw away the cluttered ideas in his mind, and carried the knife quickly in the teaching building of the 1st and 3rd year. I'm scared. Alan poked his head out of the toilet stall, peered out and then drew back slowly, quietly to stop attracting the monsters. But why didn't we run out with them and hide here? Another girl asked. 3 girls crowded into the narrow, dark cubicle, their faces frightened and their lips white. Alan lowered his voice, his eyes shining with excitement. Haven't you seen those disaster movies? When the end comes, most of the people who rush out without brains are dead. In my years of experience, it's always wise to break away from the troops and wait for rescue in a safe place. But this isn't a movie. The girl next to her was kind of crying and, are you sure the bathroom is the safe place? I also want to find other places, but this huge teaching building in addition to the classroom is the toilet where there are other places. Alan sighed helplessly, but you can rest assured we hide here, it will be okay. Tika. Before Alan could speak, the door to the toilet stall was suddenly pulled open. 3 girls hiding in the cubicle screamed at the same time. When they saw that what opened the door was not a monster, but a teenager with a knife, They covered their mouth and became quiet at the same time. What's all right? Nothing's wrong. Lin Seven Night's light open. The straight knife of the hand pulled out, and in the eyes of the three people in panic, the head of a girl was cut off instantly. A monstrous flesh and blood head fell to the ground. Chapter 54. The Wise Man. Quiet down. You killed Xiao. She's not her anymore. Don't you see? Seeing the sisters who had just been hiding together in the cubicle become monsters and were cut off, the two girls were completely scared and their legs began to weaken. Lin Seven Nights helpless will help them out of the toilet. The door has scattered more than a dozen men and women gathered together. See Lin Seven Nights really with two girls walked out, eyes full of worship. Is there really someone in there? Seven Nights Senior, you are too god. You can tell someone's in there from 10 meters away. Seven Nights Senior, are you a practitioner? Can I have one? What are you staring at? Is this a good time to talk? Come and give me a hand. The crowd reacted and hurried forward to support the two girls who were rescued. They are Lin Seven Nights in the High and High 3 district corner of the survivors rescued. There are a lot of girls like just these two were scared to go limp. Fortunately, most of the boys are relatively strong. There is no scared to walk the road situation. Seven Nights Senior, what to do next? These two teaching buildings have been searched. You just passed by the auditorium to hide. It has been cleared by me. Lin Seven Nights light open. What about you? High school building is the hardest hit. I have to save people. Can I come with you? I just fought off a monster with a fire axe too. I can help, said one of the heavier-looking boys. Oh, I'll go alone. Lin Chia shook his head, reached out and pointed to the girls in the team with weak legs. Your fire axe or used to protect them. All right then. Lin Seven Nights did not stay more. After a few words he ran downstairs alone and rushed towards the deepest high school building too. The hidden monsters on the other side of the high school account for about 60% of the entire school, and it has been nearly 10 minutes since the whole school's monster rampage. God knows what has become of the high school side. I hope they're smart. Go go go. The boys pushed the tables and chairs into the corridor, blocking the corridor. Come on, let's go. We can't let them rush up. What about the girls? Girls, stop screaming. Come and bandage the wounded. What? How many survivors are on the 3rd floor? His fucking hatchet team. Go with me. Mr. Wong, please command this floor. Chaos on the 5th floor balcony. Li Yifei shouted everywhere. At this moment most of the high school students were gathered to this floor. Impenetrable tables and chairs on both sides of the corridor completely blocked. Dozens of monsters in the following crazy impact. Saiwenwen wearing glasses. Teacher Wong solemnly nodded. Rest assured, this layer to me, I have so many years of tower defense game is not for nothing. Li Yifei picked up a fire axe with his back behind him and shouted to the corridor on the other side. Several strong boys who also held fire axes or steel tennis rackets ran quickly over. There are more than 20 students in Class 8 on the 3rd floor trapped in the classroom. We go to save. Li Yifei simply explained the situation. Several of the boys quickly tied their clothes into a thick rope, wrapped around the railing of the corridor straight down. Li Yifei pulled the pole. Feel strong enough, he took the lead in climbing up the railing, clutching the thick rope, learned to move down the picture in the TV a little bit. A few boys in the back followed suit, although a little nervous but still orderly. Miss Wong, are Li Yifei and they not in danger? One girl watched the scene with concern. Teacher Wong took a deep look at them and sighed. How could there be no danger? But I believe in his ability. Li Yifei is so handsome, why didn't you see it before? The girl next to me whispered. Throughout history, in every dark age, there have always been those who came from nowhere to lead the way. Li Yifei, these students who seem hopeless in daily life in this environment, but have the potential that others cannot replace. Don't look down on anyone even if he is insignificant, maybe one day play a bright light. Teacher Wong pushed his glasses, then seemed to realize something, turned his head and told the girl. By the way, no puppy love. Li Yifei, several people along the thick rope, successfully landed on the corridor of the 3rd floor. At this time most of the monsters are attracted to the corridor between the 4th and 5th floors. The entire 3rd floor is left with only 2 monsters, around the classroom door of Class 8. At this time all the doors and windows of Class 8 were blocked by people with tables and chairs, resulting in the 2 monsters can only free outside the classroom and cannot break through. Li Yifei is not the only smart one. Li Yifei, they fell into the corridor. Movement is very small. The 2 monsters did not find their existence. Until a few people tiptoed to go behind them, they were alert. They fiercely turned their heads, found the cat behind Li Yifei and others. opened a ferocious mouth. We'll have to move. Hang on. Li Yifei shouted. 4 or 5 boys picked up the chairs in the classroom and with a loud roar ran into the 2 monsters. Although the monster eats people first class, but the strength is not the usual people where to go in these boys under the chair. Crazy impact. It was hard to block, but the sharp dense teeth staggered bite 2 will completely chew the chair scrap. In this brief moment the remaining few boys rushed forward, fire axes and sticks desperately to the monster's mouth. After a while, the monster's body convulsed, fell to the ground on its back. The head could not be broken. Several boys gasped, but the corners of his mouth could not control the upward, eyes full of excitement. Together they hacked 2 terrible monsters to death. Hurry up and save people. Li Yifei ran to the door of the classroom and knocked quickly. The students in Class 8 classroom have also been observing the movement outside through the gap between desks and chairs. See Li Yifei, a group of people actually really killed the monster. Quickly withdrew a door. Several boys went straight out. I am Li Yifei from Class 2. Please evacuate with us. Li Yifei opened his mouth. Evacuate? Where can we retreat to? The first boy shook his head, reaching out to the first floor. Now the first floor has been completely occupied. There are at least 10 monsters. We simply cannot break through. You can kill 2. Can you kill 10? We're going up. Li Yifei said seriously. We killed all the monsters on the 5th floor, piled up tables and chairs on both sides of the corridor defense. And now most of the students in this building are hiding there. The 5th floor? The boy smiled. And I asked you, which floor is this now? The 3rd floor. Where are the monsters now? The 1st, 2nd and 4th floors. So even if we break out on the 5th floor like you said, how do we get around the 4th floor, where the monsters are most concentrated? Even if we do manage to break out from the 4th floor, you said your 5th floor corridor is completely sealed off. Do you have time to open the door for us, wait for all of us to pass and then seal it? He pointed to the thick rope floating down the 3rd floor corridor. Or do you think all 28 of us can get up to the 5th floor on this rope? Li Yifei was speechless. Chapter 55. The Fish. Mito, I didn't think so much. Li Yifei sighed. We're grateful you came down here to save us. The boy bends slightly, but unfortunately your exit plan isn't working. Then what better idea do you have? Defend it. His voice sounded very calm, and although these monsters looked scary, they were not so strong that we could not fight them at all. And as long as we kept reinforcing the defenses of the doors and windows, it was not a problem to hold them off. I'm sure someone will come to rescue us soon. Li Yifei was silent for a moment and looked up again at the boy who wore glasses and looked like C. I don't even know your name. Anqing Fish. A fish? You're the one with the best grades in the city? Li Yifei's eyes widened. Grades and stuff, I don't care. Anqing Fish's eyes fell on the sickening pieces of flesh outside the corridor, their eyes shining strangely. Seems that the world. It's a lot more fun than I thought. I don't know why. Li Yifei saw his eyes, some hair in his heart. Since you won't come with me, I'll go back to the 5th floor. Li Yifei turned and prepared to leave. After all, he was no longer needed here, and there were a large number of students on the 5th floor. I don't think you're going to be able to leave now. Anqing Fish went to the window, reaching out to the 3 monsters running from the right corridor, and on the left corridor entrance the same 3 monsters climbed up. It's surrounded. The most critical thing is that when one of the monsters passes through the corridor, the thick rope floating on the outside is directly broken, and the retreat of Li Yifei and others is completely broken. Li Yifei's pupils suddenly contracted. With a chair and a fire axe they might be able to kill both monsters, but if they face only one at the same time, they will die. Move it. Put the tables and chairs back up. The boys in the classroom quickly moved the tables and chairs from the door back, and soon the monsters came to the outside of the classroom, using their own bodies and fangs constantly stirring the tables and chairs, shaking them. More than 20 boys are fighting to eat milk strength, dead against the table and chair, the face is full of purple. Indoor and outdoor, this is a bet on dozens of lives of wrestling. The girls in the classroom turned white and screamed and hid in the corner of the classroom, and the other boys' faces were also very ugly. Only the thin Anqing Fish stood to the side, frowning at the scene in front of him, as if he were thinking about something. Kill 2 monsters and a monster immediately appears, indicating that the spirit of these monsters exists. Interactive network. There is a master brain that rules over all the subbrains, and the master brain is extremely intelligent, no less than human beings. The problem is, how do they know to cut the rope? Assuming that the vision of all monsters can be shared, when Li Yifei landed from the thick rope to the corridor from the monster's perspective, it should not be able to see all this. How do they know that the thick rope is the link between the two floors? When Anqing Fish thought alone, Li Yifei and others at the top of the front gnawing their teeth, the body gradually backward under the pressure in front. Damn it. I can't stand it. In the moment of exhaustion, a figure quickly floated through the window, light blue edge across a crescent. The next moment a ferocious monster head thrown high. The other 5 monsters did not react. The figure slightly changed pace, a twist in body shape in a very strange attitude, swinging the knife out. The blade cut the nearest monster from his shoulder all the way to his waist, once and for all. Blood gushed out and the only 4 monsters finally reacted, bellowing and rushing toward the figure at the same time. Just as they were about to touch his body, the man's eyes suddenly erupted into 2 hot lights, like blazing furnaces, dazzling. The terrible divine power rushed out like the sea, and struck the spirits of the 4 monsters. They all move at the same time. Then a light blue knife cut out again across the moon like a round arc, at the same time cut the necks of 4 monsters. The whole process is like flowing clouds without any stagnation. Although the teenager has been fast back, but the splashing of blood still will be his school uniform dyed red, his brows slightly wrinkled, the furnace of the eyes slowly dim, dissipated without trace. Straight knife back to the sheath. A large group of students stood nearby, dumbfounded. What did they see? A high school student wearing the same school uniform. A few knives cut down a monster? 7 nights, you finally came. Li Yifei saw that person, the voice with a bit of grievance, crying, I thought you ran away from me. Don't say such silly things. Lin 7 nights silently rolled his eyes. My classmates. Are you here to save us? Someone in the crowd asked excitedly. Sort of. Lin Chia nodded, turned to look at Li Yifei. Simply tell me about the situation. Yes. Li Yifei organized the language and opened his mouth. After the strange sound appeared, most of the monsters were furious and the whole building was in chaos. Our 4th floor is still good. There is a class on the 1st floor. Half of the people directly turned into monsters, killed other students, but also completely blocked the stairs. We cannot go downstairs to run out of the school. Someone tried to jump directly from the 2nd floor, but just down was torn into pieces. So, basically all the students started running upstairs. I took a group of combat boys, killed a few monsters on the 5th floor, followed by the 2nd, 3rd, 4th floor after most of the students blocked the corridor with them hard up, and later heard that there are survivors on the 3rd floor. We came down. Lin Chia asked, how do you deal with those who are not sure whether they are monsters? Fortunately, you told me before Han Ruo is also a monster. She did not change, but mixed in the crowd. I saw at a glance. In order not to alarm her, I put her and a few boys with her more contact, and a few girls with the dormitory are blocked in a classroom with special care. Lin 7 nights after listening, nodding again and again. Fortunately have you in, otherwise the dead students will only be more. Li Yifei scratched his head. He smiled. My performance is so good. Into the night watch should be no problem? It's not a problem. Lin 7 nights seems to be aware of someone's eyes, turned his head, and the weak boy with glasses looked at each other. From his eyes, Lin Chia read out different emotions from others. The way others look at him is mostly fear, awe, adoration, love. And the eyes of this boy. Like he saw some rare species, wanted to take him back and slice him up. Are you? Lin 7 nights doubt asked. Anqing Fish came forward, courteously extended his right hand. Hello, my name is Anqing Fish. Lin Chia hesitated for a moment and held his hand. Lin Chia.